All right, today we're looking at the M13, so let's get started. Today I want to answer two questions. Is the M13 good, and is it viable? And because there's a little bit of difference between the two, and I have some criteria for going over both. But first, let's look at the attachments that I use. We got the monolithic suppressor for sound suppression and range, the longest barrel for more range, commando foregrip because I'm prioritizing ADS speed over control, 60 round mag because we thirsty for them downs. And as far as the optic goes, I'm using a 4x flip hybrid, but literally use whatever you want to use. So one of the questions we want to answer is, how good is it? And in order to do so, we need to look at a few things. And for this video and kind of my general thinking, I'm going to focus this into two particular parts: recoil control and damage output. As far as the M13 is concerned, the recoil control is one of the best, in my opinion. This thing is just like a little laser beam that eats people. In fact, initially, when I first started using this gun, I never ran an optic on it because I didn't feel it was really necessary. The recoil control was, there was no recoil. You can control it very easily. The iron sights weren't terrible, and I kind of preferred it that way. Even my fully loaded kit is just this same M13 build, but with no optic and fully loaded attached. It's pretty reliable. Now, the damage output is something that we need to look at. Typically, a gun that has like a lot of control, high rate of fire, doesn't really deal a lot of damage because that's just how you balance weapons in video games. And in this case, it still kind of holds true. The single bullet damage of the M13 is pretty low. However, the rate of fire is high enough to make up for it. It actually makes it a pretty low time to kill in this game. It's actually pretty insane. It kind of shreds people. In fact, I like to think of it as an AR SMG because of how high the rate of fire is and how useful it is at any range. You have close quarters and you can easily run to a building and hip fire it and use it like an SMG, no problem, but also has the range of an AR, and you can kill people from pretty far away, and especially medium range I think is where it's most optimal. But at long ranges, it still can kind of, it can still compete, even though it's just not the most efficient because it does take more bullets to kill somebody. It's not super efficient at long range. Still gets the job done, but your ammo reserves will surely notice this if you're trying to fight at long range, just because of how high the rate of fire is and all that kind of stuff. But so, the recoil is easy to control and it shreds, so it's good. In my opinion, it's good. That's all I kind of care about, and I think that's what a lot of people care about, is in particular the recoil part. So next we need to look at how viable this gun is. Now this is a pretty kind of a difficult thing to answer because most guns in this game are viable. They're all pretty good, but I kind of want to look at it from a different angle and just kind of see how people typically play the game. I believe people tend to stick with a pretty standard loadout, an AR with an SMG or a sniper. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you're going to see. Now, as I mentioned, the M13 is kind of a hybrid in my opinion. I tend to use it as an SMG in close quarters while also using it like a normal AR in range. So what that allows me to do is kind of use whatever I want to use. I can use a sniper rifle without being worried about close quarter engagements with someone that has like an MP5 or something like that. I can use an RPG. I can use a combat knife. I can use a shotgun. It doesn't really matter. The M13 is a little more breathing room for your kit, so you can kind of change your loadouts up a little bit more and kind of have some more fun with the game and kind of changes things up a little. And for me, I think that's one of the most crucial things. And it's the reason why I have more kills with the M13 than any other weapon in the game, by double. And it's for the reason that I think it's a pretty versatile weapon to have in the loadout, just because you can change things up. And I think it's a really good weapon for Warzone, just because it covers all ranges. Now again, the long range, it's not efficient. It still works fine, but it's just not efficient for ammo. That can be easily made up. And that's really it. I kind of came here to answer two questions, and that was kind of it. So I think I'm done here. Hope it helped. Peace.